They were running for their lives in Tel Aviv tonight. Hamas had warned we'll hit Tel Aviv at 9 p.m. They fired at 9:07. 90 seconds to Tel Aviv. It came at 9:08. But the Iron Dome anti-missile system did its job, tracking the missiles, hitting them head-on, destroying them.
Israel must defend itself.
It must.
Israel must defend itself if this continues.
Hamas fired at least 4 missiles at Tel Aviv. No damage, no casualties, thanks to Iron Dome. Israel's patience is close to breaking point. Tank columns continue to take up positions today, while some of the Palestinian population in northern Gaza has reportedly been warned to leave their homes. The army says it's ready to invade Gaza to stop the rockets. All it needs now is the government order, and Israelis are divided.
Every few years we are getting into some little wars, and it never ends. I don't think that getting into Gaza is the right solution right now.
Israeli, with all the pain, must go to Gaza and destroy the Hamas.
Gaza. After 5 days of fighting, more than 150 Palestinians dead, 1,000 wounded, 12 Israelis wounded, the UN Security Council today called for an end to the fighting. Everyone wants to stop a ground invasion and the carnage it would bring. The UN Security Council, the European Union, the Arab League, all are calling for a halt to the violence, and now they're working on ceasefire proposals. Hamas and Israel have said they will listen, but they won't stop fighting yet.
Uneven toll of dead and injured. The Israeli military tonight successfully intercepted another barrage of Hamas rockets fired from Gaza toward Tel Aviv. Hamas, however, has had no such success defending against Israeli counterattacks. The death toll in Gaza now stands over 150, with over 900 people wounded. Inside Israel, there have been no deaths from the rocket attacks, but at least 11 people have been wounded. Tonight, we have the view from the ground on both sides, starting with Martin Fletcher in Tel Aviv. Martin.
Lester, good evening. The stakes are rising sharply here tonight. Israel says because Hamas is hiding its rocket launchers among Palestinian homes in northern Gaza, tonight it will order Palestinian civilians to leave their homes for their own safety. They were running for their lives in Tel Aviv tonight. Hamas had warned we'll hit Tel Aviv at 9 p.m. They fired at 9:07. 90 seconds to Tel Aviv. It came at 9:08. But the Iron Dome anti-missile system did its job, tracking the missiles, hitting them head-on.
With no end in sight, the human toll is steadily rising in Gaza. NBC's Ayman Mohideen joins us from there tonight. Ayman?
Good evening, Lester. As it does every time at around this time, it is an eerie silence that falls upon Gaza. Just ambulances out in the streets. We're hearing the sounds of fighter jets and drones. A short while ago, the Israeli Navy shelled the harbor off to my right, and tonight there was an airstrike that tried to kill Gaza's police chief. It didn't. It killed 18, many from the same family. But tonight, there is outrage over what might have been the deliberate targeting of a home for people with disabilities. In the daylight, the aftermath of Israel's overnight airstrike becomes visible. It's unclear why Israel might have targeted this shelter for people with disabilities, but what is clear is the toll on the people who lived here. At the hospital where her brother and sisters waited, she was known only as victim number 6. Her name was Suha Abu Saada, 38 years old, from Beit Lahia. Her brother told me we thought she'd be safe from the war, so we kept her in the shelter. They were wrong. A final goodbye wave from her sister, a short stop at the local mosque for mourners, young and old, to pay their final respects. And Suha became a number again, one of more than 150 people killed in Israel's war on Gaza so far. Just as we left the mosque, hundreds flooded the streets for another funeral. This one for 4 men belonging to Palestinian militant factions killed in an Israeli airstrike while standing on a street corner. They've just laid another body on top of that hilltop there behind me. It is the 6th body in this one neighborhood alone today. It gives you a sense of the scale of loss that the people of Gaza are now suffering. Every Palestinian death here is a source of renewed determination to live, this preacher tells the mourners. Don't abandon the fight. Don't abandon the resistance, he says. And while they mourn, the war rages on. Smoke from yet another Israeli airstrike billows on the horizon. At the site, we find more anger. Word spreads. It's an Israeli assassination of a senior Hamas member. Stoic looks on the faces of the elders. But it's too much for the young ones to handle. Another day in Gaza, another day of bombardments, another day of deaths. The United Nations says up to 300,000 people may be displaced as a result of an Israeli ground invasion. And tomorrow morning, they're evacuating about 800 foreign nationals that have been trapped in Gaza since this conflict started. But for the 1.7 million Gazans that remain behind, they'll have nowhere to go.
Israeli tanks are positioned outside the entrances to Gaza, awaiting orders to invade as the aerial bombardments from both sides continues, but claiming an uneven toll of dead and injured. The Israeli military tonight successfully intercepted another barrage of Hamas rockets fired from Gaza toward Tel Aviv. Hamas, however, has had no such success defending against Israeli counterattacks. The death toll in Gaza now stands at over 150, with over 900 people wounded. Inside Israel, there have been no deaths from the rocket attacks, but at least 11 people have been wounded. Tonight, we have the view from the ground on both sides, starting with Martin Fletcher in Tel Aviv. Martin, good evening.
Lester, good evening. The stakes are rising sharply here tonight. Israel says because Hamas is hiding its rocket launchers among Palestinian homes in northern Gaza, tonight it will order Palestinian civilians to leave their homes, quote, for their own safety.
The Israeli offensive in Gaza entered its fourth day today, with Israel bombarding Hamas targets once again. They've hit over 1,100 targets in Gaza, mostly rocket launchers, but also Hamas installation and top figures over there. The death toll in Gaza passing 100, with Israel targeting top Hamas people, but also dozens of civilians, we are told. In the meantime, on the Israeli side, the rockets continuing to fire deeper and deeper into Israel. From what we can tell so far, the rocket fire from Lebanon this morning appears to be an isolated incident. It doesn't look like there's going to be another front opening. While things are going on in Gaza and people there are getting killed, obviously most of the blame is being pointed the finger towards Israel, of course, because they're the ones who are firing. But perhaps when the guns silence a little bit, there are going to be a lot of questions from within also. Palestinians saying, why did Hamas bring this upon us? We had our life was maybe not that great before, but we lived a pretty quiet existence. And now, obviously, Gaza really devastated by this offensive from Israel, which doesn't seem to have any end in sight right now.
Straight ahead.
Israel has widened its air assault against Hamas as the Palestinians say their death toll from the 5 days of fighting rose to over 125 on Saturday. Gaza officials said overnight Israeli strikes raised the death count, with more than 920 wounded. While there have been no reported fatalities in Israel from the continued airstrikes, Hamas militants have fired nearly 700 rockets and mortars towards the area. Plumes of smoke could be seen rising over Gaza City on Saturday, as Israel responded with their own airstrikes, sparking a massive fire in an industrial district. Meanwhile, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has called for a ceasefire in the ongoing conflict. While Israelis and militants exchange rocket fire along the Strip, Abbas reiterated that the Palestinians demand their future state be based upon the 1967 borders. President Abbas said at a press conference, "Come, let us make peace, and we can do it in 10 minutes, according to the 1967 borderlines. And all other issues will be solved in an hour, and the dispute will be terminated." But the president also warned that without an agreement based on the original borders, Israel would keep receiving missiles. Emily Roseman, The Associated Press.